Hey, it's Ben from Real Estate Raw, and I've got something absolutely wild to share with you today. Picture this. You're wandering through Switzerland. Think snow-capped Alps, quaint little villages, cows with bells jingling around their necks, and every seventh person you pass, they're a millionaire. Not kidding. 1 in 7 Swiss adults has a net worth over $1 million. That's 5 times more millionaires per person than here in the US. I mean, what's going on over there? Are they all secretly churning out Rolexes in their basements or stashing gold bars under their chalets? Nope, it's way more fascinating than that. I couldn't let this go without digging in, so I went down the rabbit hole to figure out how the Swiss pull this off. And let me tell you, it's not just about fancy banks or chocolate empires, it's a whole mindset, a way of living that's raw, real, and honestly kinda inspiring. Over the next 10 minutes or so, I'm spilling the tea on 5 Swiss money habits that are making them richer than most of us could dream. And the best part? You don't need to move to Zurich to try this stuff out. Ready to have your mind blown? Let's get into it. Alright, let's set the stage. Switzerland's this tiny speck of a country, about 8.7 million people, smaller than a lot of US states. Meanwhile, the US has over 330 million folks, and yeah, we've got more total millionaires, around 22 million. But when you break it down per person, only about 1 in 20 adults here hits that $1 million mark. In Switzerland, it's 1 in 7. That's insane. We're talking roughly 800,000 millionaires strolling around a place the size of New Jersey. So, I had to ask, what are they doing that we're not? Turns out it's less about how much they make and more about how they handle what they've got. Here's the first secret I uncovered. Number 1, they're not obsessed with owning a house. Yeah, you heard me right. In the US, we're all about that American dream vibe. Buy a house, slap a white picket fence around it, call it home. About 65% of us own our places, and we wear it like a badge of honor. But in Switzerland, only 41% of adults own their homes, the lowest rate in Europe. The rest? They're renting, and they're totally cool with it. I was chatting with a buddy who lived in Geneva for a few years, and he said, "Ben, over there, renting's not a stepping stone, it's a lifestyle." Why does this matter? Because instead of tying up all their cash in a mortgage, or stressing over a down payment, they're taking that money and making it work. Picture this. Instead of dropping 50 grand on a house deposit, they're investing it in stocks, bonds, or even funky stuff like real estate funds that don't involve mowing a lawn. Swiss millennials especially are all over this. They'd rather rent a slick apartment in Lausanne and pump their savings into something that grows than lock it into a single property. It's like they've cracked the code liquidity beats a fixed address. Could you imagine doing that here? It's a total headspace shift. Number 2, they save like it's their job. Seriously, the Swiss treat saving money like it's a sacred ritual. They're not waiting to see what's left at the end of the month. Oh no. They're socking away 20 to 30% of their income first, before they even think about splurging on fondue or ski trips. I read about this guy, Lucas. He's a regular dude, works in tech in Zurich, and he told me, "Ben, I don't even miss it. It's gone before I can spend it." Compare that to us in the US. Most folks are like, "I'll save whatever's left after bills, Netflix, and that extra takeout." Spoiler alert, there's usually zilch left. But the Swiss? They've got this automatic discipline baked in. It's not about being cheap, it's about building a fortress of cash that keeps growing. Imagine if you flipped your budget upside down like that. It's not glamorous, but man, it's how you stack those millions over time. Number 3. They think global, not local. Swiss millionaires aren't just playing in their own backyard. They're out there on the world stage. They don't trust one bank or one country with all their money. Nope. They're juggling 3, sometimes 5 different banks. One for everyday stuff, like buying groceries or paying rent, another for fancy wealth management, and then an international one for deals across borders. I heard about this woman, Clara, who's got accounts in Zurich, London, and even Singapore. She's like, "Why put all my eggs in one basket when I can spread them out?" And it's not just banks, they're global with their whole lives. A lot of them snag second passports or residencies in other countries. It's not because they're fleeing Switzerland, nah, they love it there, but it opens doors. Better tax options, more investment opportunities, a backup plan if the world gets weird. It's like they're living in a choose-your-own-adventure book while we're still flipping through the local paper. You don't need to be a jet setter to borrow this vibe, just start thinking bigger than your zip code. Number 4, they invest in themselves like it's a full-time gig. Education's a big deal in Switzerland, but not just the go to college, get a degree kind. They're dropping 5 to 10% of their income every year on leveling up, learning new languages, mastering tech skills, or getting sharp with money management. I met this woman, Anna. She's a millionaire now, but she started as a school teacher. She spent years picking up German, French, and financial know-how on the side. Next thing you know, she's consulting for big firms and raking it in. She told me, "Ben, knowledge is the one thing that never goes bust." It's so raw and real. While we're binging TikTok dances, they're out there building skills that pay off for decades. Imagine if you took a chunk of your paycheck and said, "This is for future me." That's the Swiss way, and it's a millionaire maker. Number 5, they're all about the long game. Swiss millionaires aren't chasing the next hot stock tip or crypto hype. They're building wealth that lasts, not just for them, but for their kids, their grandkids, the whole family tree. They live way below their means, no flashy Ferraris or designer drip everywhere you look. I heard about this guy, Hans. He runs a small business in Geneva. He could live like a king, but he's driving a modest car, wearing regular clothes, and piling every extra franc into assets that grow slow and steady. It's not about flexing now, it's about winning later. Patience is their superpower. We're over here stressing about keeping up with the Joneses, and they're like, "Who's that? I'm too busy building a legacy." It's the least sexy secret, but it's the most powerful. So, here's the big picture. 1 in 7 Swiss adults being millionaires isn't some fluke. It's a lifestyle. Renting over buying, saving like champs, thinking global, investing in themselves, and playing the long game. They're not drowning in debt or chasing instant gratification. They're stacking bricks for a fortress of wealth. And the coolest part? You don't need Swiss Air or a secret bank vault to make this work. Start with one of these habits. Heck, even just saving first instead of last, and watch how it shifts things. That's it from me, Ben at Real Estate Raw. What do you think? Could you live like the Swiss? Which of these blew your mind the most? Drop it in the comments. Let's keep this raw and real. If you're vibing with this, hit that subscribe button. We're unpacking more wild money secrets next time. Oh, and if you missed my last video on 3D printed homes, go check it out. It's crazy how that ties into this global mindset stuff. Catch you in the next one.